every trip makes us better regardless of our failures.
All right, good morning folks. It is Nick Mulbauer here, and we got our first one this morning. Beautiful largemouth there. It's a quaint morning. The water's high, and we're doing some morning bass in here. I've been throwing the topwater without much luck, and I decided to try the old wacky rig, and that was the first cast with the wacky rig. Water's a bit dirty, so I have a worm here with a little chartreuse accent to try to help those fish find it in the dirty water. So we're just going around here, casting around to all the shallow submerged cover. With the water being so high, there is plenty of it. And like I said, that was first cast with the wacky rig, and I had thrown the popper in the same exact spot with no luck. I haven't even had a sniff at a popper, so I threw the wacky rig first cast. So we're just gonna fish all this shoreline cover with the high water we have again. We've just been getting constant rain, and there's a lot of cover here that I don't get to fish normally, so it's a lot of fun being able to fish this shallow cover. So that's what we're gonna do. Hopefully catch a big one. That was cool. Is that a catfish? Freaking catfish swim after the jig. I'll be darned. Oh, that's a bass. Oh my God. Ooh, guys, there's the big one. Oh, my heart is racing. I thought that was a catfish. He swam right out after that one. Ooh, guys. There we go. That's a giant. I don't know how big he is, but that's probably the big fish of the day. Swam out, swim jig. Amazing. We'll get that one back. Beautiful fish. Dense fish. But these fish are doing exactly what you would expect them to do with all this infinite amount of shallow cover they have right now with all the rain. That's exactly where they are. I'm looking for wood coming down into the water. I'm looking for dark shaded areas. I'm looking for where the water goes as deep up into that cut bank as I can get it. And that's where I'm finding these fish, and that's how I'm getting bit. But I've caught several. I've missed a lot too, because like I said, I've just been out of it this morning. I just can't get my head into the game. So hopefully as morning progresses, I can do a little better. But that was a nice fish. So I'll just keep throwing the jig, guys. I think I'm gonna be throwing jig all morning. It's the only lure I can get up into that stuff enough. Maybe I'd do like a Texas rig, but just getting that jig up into those dark areas and getting that jig up into that thick dark cover up on the bank, that is where I'm throwing to. So that's what's working. I'm grateful I got that fish in, because that was the one to not miss. I thought it was a catfish. There we go, guys. There's another one swimming that jig. Nice chunker. They've all been really chunky and nice. Got good weight on them. But like I said, I'm doing nothing but swimming jigs and popping jigs and just working this thick cover. There's nothing to it. Great day though, guys. Despite the conditions are wonderful. The high water, I've got them patterned in. I know what they're doing. They're just set up in the thickest of thick, like I said, deep in the roots and trees and all that stuff. You get in that cut bank and throw it right at those roots, and that's where they're setting up at, guys. I'm trying to find the clearest water I can. That seems to help. If you can just find the slightest bit of clarity, oops, that helps. So a lot of the other places around here, it's not as clear, and this has just like a perfect tint to it, but they can still find it, pick it up.
You know, after watching the footage, I just have a lot of thoughts about this trip. I did a lot of things right. I did a lot of things wrong, but in summary, the thing I did right that was most important is I found fish in really high water. I gotta give myself a little credit for being able to find the fish amongst infinite cover. Like I said, guys, there are so many places for those fish to hide that it can almost feel overwhelming. But I did manage to pattern them in. I found those bass specifically on cut bank, root exposed dirt banks where it was a sheer cut drop into water and then just butted up against, you know, roots, thick trunks, pair that with dark areas where, like I said, that water goes deep into those cut banks. If it was a really dark spot, heavy shade even later in the day, that is where I would throw to. I mean, it was a cloudy day, but you could just see these areas where the water was just a little darker, and that's where those bass were. If I were to recount what was my biggest mistake of the day, I would say not switching the color of my jig. I think that black and blue jig worked well early, but I feel like that water clarity was maybe just had enough clarity that I should have maybe switched to a different, more natural, like green pumpkin, you know, or a brown or something that just kind of camouflages itself into the bottom content better, because I feel like those fish were trailing that. They did not inhale that bait. It was right in the lip, but not deep in the mouth. So I think maybe switching that jig color, or maybe switching to a smaller profile worm or something might have helped those fish be more eager to inhale that bait a little better, so I could get a really good hook set on those fish. I missed a lot of fish, guys, a lot. This could have been probably an insane video, but it just did not work out for me this day. I made a lot of mistakes, like I said, and it cost me. But what we do is we learn from our mistakes and try to do better next time. If I want to say one extra thing, and this is kind of all aside, those fish had it out for me that day too. I had two good ones on, and what they did is they beelined it into those trees, and I just lost them immediately. Like, you know, I usually have a fish beeline it into trees. You know, it happens pretty regularly because that's where they are. And, you know, you just fight them out of the stuff, but they would go right into that tree and they would just be gone. Like, it's like my hook would detach from their mouth and end up in a log. Like, then they'd just be gone. Like, there was no fight of the fish out of the cover. It was just, they would go into the tree and they would disappear. So all that aside, it was a really fun day. I appreciate every trip. I am grateful for every trip I get, and I learn a lot from every trip. Every trip makes us better regardless of our failures. If you guys dig the content, you love it, you think it's worth a darn, please like, please subscribe. Helps me a lot, guys. It helps me more than you'll ever know. I appreciate y'all and everything you guys do, and I appreciate your comments. I love hearing from you. I love hearing opinions. So if you got opinions, throw them out there. So y'all take care. We're gonna be back out soon. I'm actually kind of backlogged on video right now, so that's a good thing. So Y'all take care. Fishing's been amazing. Appreciate the water. Love having the water. Take care. Have a good one, guys.